And it's just basketball. At the end of the day, it's just basketball.
Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe on the way in the door, my people. I hope you all are having a truly fantastic day today. Breaking news, I had to go ahead and cover this. So apparently, Sean Combs, aka Diddy, has been arrested. And I had to cover this because if you follow this channel, you know we are all about the 90s. And if you grew up in the 90s like I did, in the Michael Jordan era, what I would say is the greatest era of all, then you know that Sean Combs was definitely a part of that era. You know, the Biggie Life After Death album was definitely a part of the soundtrack of my life during that time. You know, certain songs I can hear, you know, from Biggie, and it takes me right back to specific events in my life. So, you know, P. Diddy is definitely a part of that soundtrack. Now, I will say this, even back then, I never liked P. Diddy. Like from the very beginning, I never liked P. Diddy, and this was before all the rumors. I'm not sure how early those started, but we all know that these rumors have been happening for years and years about, you know, about some of the atrocious things that Puff Daddy was doing back then, and obviously continued to do. But I didn't like him back then simply because, you know, I'm a musician. And the fact that all of his hits were simply remakes of other people's songs, you know, I just couldn't get with that. You know, as someone who does music myself, it just, you know, I was like, that's ridiculous. That this guy is you know, just taking all of these songs and redoing them and, you know, benefiting from them. And not that I have a problem, you know, sampling is a part of hip hop. You know, sampling is a part of hip hop, but, you know, most of the time when people sample, they took the sample and kind of transformed it into something else other than what the original song was. Matter of fact, normally you would have to hear the song and you'd be like, oh, that sounds like it got a sample in it from this song or that song. But with P. Diddy, it was pretty much just taking the whole song. But yeah, like I said, we've all been hearing these rumors since way back then. And then, of course, we know, you know, a few months ago, or was it, you know, late last year? Maybe it was even a little earlier than then. I don't know. Maybe this has been going on for a year now, but we know the allegations came out with Cassie suing. And then, of course, eventually the videotape release showing the horrific incident with both of them in the hotel. And so, you know, since then, everybody's been kind of wondering, it's like, is he ever actually going to get arrested? We've been seeing, you know, pictures, and well, he came out with that ridiculous apology video, but we've been seeing pictures and whatnot of him seeming like he's still living life to the fullest. And so everybody has been kind of wondering, like, are they actually ever going to arrest this guy? And it has finally happened. So we're going to read this article coming from the New York Times. And it says, Sean Combs arrested in Manhattan after grand jury indictment. It says the music mogul has been under mounting scrutiny since a 2023 lawsuit by his former girlfriend, Cassie, accused him of sex trafficking and years of abuse. Says Sean Combs, the music mogul whose career has been upended by sexual assault lawsuits and a federal investigation, was arrested in Manhattan on Monday evening after a grand jury indicted him, according to a person familiar with the indictment who was not authorized to speak publicly. The indictment is sealed and the charges were not announced, but the person familiar with the prosecution said they believed Mr. Combs was being charged with racketeering and sex trafficking. A statement from Mr. Combs' legal team said they were disappointed with the decision to prosecute him and noted that they had been very cooperative with the investigation and had voluntarily relocated to New York last week in anticipation of these charges. Sean Diddy Combs is a music icon, self-made entrepreneur, loving family man, and proven philanthropist who has spent the last 30 years building an empire, adoring his children, and working to uplift the black community. The statement said he is an imperfect person, but he is not a criminal. So here's the thing, and this is something we've talked about on this channel. I'm going to try to keep this video relatively short, but again, and I mentioned this, I think I did a video on Puffy kind of back when these charges first happened. But here's the thing, and I just want to talk about the character. Now, first of all, obviously he's innocent and proven guilty, but I also, at the same time, feel like if people keep saying certain things about you, like everybody can't be lying, right? If people keep saying the same kind of things about you over and over again, coming from different people, everybody can't be lying. This is just the way I feel. You know, kind of the way I feel about the alleged allegations about LeBron James and the juice. You know, if your name keeps coming up on ledgers and people involved with it, it's a good chance that you are probably involved in it yourself. And so, yeah, I feel like most times, and it doesn't matter who you are, the things that you do will eventually come back to bite you. It'll eventually come back to haunt you. And so, yeah, again, I just kind of really want to reiterate, you know, the dangers of chasing money and fame when that's the end goal. When the end goal is simply money, fame, and power. Number one, I think that already kind of says something about your character to be one to chase that. Like, you know, unless you want power to actually do good, you know. But I feel like most people who chase power, it's because they want control. And so that says a lot about your character. When you have someone like P. Diddy, who, you know, if you look over through the course of his career and all the alleged stuff he's been involved in, you know, allegedly in the murder of Tupac, you know, it's even been alleged that possibly in the murder of Biggie, you know. And so, you know, people like that who are chasing power, they have no moral compass. Everything is for self, everything, and they will do any and everything as long as it benefits them, as long as it's in pursuit of that money and power. And again, you know, this is the reason that we talk about LeBron James on this channel in the way that we do, because at the end of the day, you know, leave basketball out of it. To me, his actions in basketball speak to him as a person. But I feel like if you just look at the way that he interacts with people, if you look at the way he's gone throughout his career, if you look at the way he goes about things off the court, to me, it's clear that LeBron James is driven by the praise and the money and the power. And again, this is why someone like that is not to be trusted. This is why all you fanboys who get in my comments want to tell me how great of a person he is, because nothing has come out yet. Nothing has come out yet. This is why we say what we do, because my thing is like the way he's went about his basketball career and some of the things that he's done, to me, he can't be that great of a person. The fact that, again, that he seems to be driven by the praise and the money, and that the decisions he's made in his career has been all about self. Again, the way that he left Cleveland was all about self. The way that he left Miami after was all about self. The way that he left Cleveland again was all about self. The way that he goes about his contracts, having his contract set up in a way so that he can constantly keep pressure on the franchise he's currently playing for, to make sure that they are bending to his will. These are character flaws. I hate to tell you. And, again, I bring this up because to me, when we're talking about Diddy and LeBron and people like that, I would throw Shannon Sharp into that mix now. Is people who will do anything in that pursuit of money, fame, and power. And the list goes on to those kind of people. But again, to me, if your pursuit of these things aren't driven by something other than those things, again, like Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan clearly just loved the game of basketball, and that was the driving force behind what happened. And to me, when you talk about the greatest of the greatest who've ever done anything, that's because they are driven by that love of the thing that they do. Whether you're talking about Prince and Michael Jackson and, even Tupac, the reason Tupac reached so many people is the passion in his lyrics. You could tell that his music had meaning. And it really doesn't matter what you thought about. To me, Tupac is the greatest rapper to ever live. But it really doesn't matter if you think he is or not. To me, what you cannot deny is the impact. And the reason he had that impact is because whether you agree with the messages he put out or not, he definitely had messages that he was trying to convey through the music. And it meant something to him. Whether you're talking about Mike Tyson, again, I talk about Mike Tyson quite a bit because if you've ever heard Mike Tyson talk about the history of boxing, you could tell that Mike Tyson really knows his stuff. Like, he loved the sport of boxing, and he loved it enough to know the history of the old fighters. So yeah, people who usually reach the tip top of something, those people are usually not driven by the fame and the money and the power. Those people are usually driven by the love for the thing that they do. And when you're not, you can fall into these pitfalls because, again, like I said, to want the money and power and fame just for what it is, to me, that says something about your character already. And it just leads down a slippery slope of abusing that power and doing more treacherous things. The more money and power you get, it really swells your ego, and you feel like no one should tell you no. You feel like you should be able to do whatever it is you want to do in this world, and because for the most part, nobody will tell you no, because nobody wants to go against that power. Or if you're feeding some people, nobody wants to interrupt what you're giving to them. But at the end of the day, it seems like inevitably, all of these type of people will eventually come to a tragic end, and we don't know what's going to happen with this lawsuit or with this court case yet. Again, I guess they hadn't officially released the charges, but I think we've seen it over and over again that people who crave power eventually have to take a fall. But anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comments. What do you think of Puff Daddy, aka P. Diddy, getting arrested? Do you think this will actually turn into something? Do you think this is a definite, he will be going to jail for one reason or another? Again, the feds have a 90% conviction rate. That is not for no reason. So normally if they arrest you, you going to jail for something. But anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comments. You all have a truly fantastic day, and I'll see you next time. All right.